Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great, and as always, we're back with another video and back with another topic of discussion for all of my athletes or whoever is interested in knowing how the mind of an athlete works. Today, we'll be talking about necessary stress. This could cover different things. First and foremost, the stress of going pro, the stress of going after a specific objective, how you pick those stresses, and how you analyze if that stress is for you, but also if the time in which you're going for that and the deadline that you may have given yourself to reach that certain thing, is that necessary at the moment, or is it necessary at all? Why is it important? It's important because everything that you add to your life, or that is added to you externally, is an additional stress, right? Whether it's positive or negative, anything that you commit to, anything that you put time to, is a stress because you have to work towards it. You have to worry about it. You have to make sure that you're doing things right. And this applies to your day-to-day life just like it applies to our careers. And I want you guys to be aware of this. A lot of us are in sports for different reasons. Some are just playing for fun, but still want to get better. Some want to go pro, or some have even more specific objectives that they're going for. And with every new stress you add to your life, you need to make sure of a certain amount of things before you choose to add that stress to your life. Obviously, with everything we talk about, there always comes a couple of issues. So, what's the first issue encountered? The first one is doing it for the wrong reasons. Some of us may be aiming to go pro for the wrong reasons. Some of us may set a specific target for ourselves for the wrong reasons. Maybe you know that it's not the right time for you to be going for that, but again, for the wrong reasons, you still choose a stress that is not necessary at that moment, right? So what can be some of those bad reasons? Obviously, with pro sports, a lot of people do it for the fame. A lot of people can do it for the money, for the validation, for the eyes, to be in the public eye. I mean, you see all these cool highlights of football players on social media that really only highlight the good things that you see, but we never see what goes on behind the scenes, the constant doubts, your mind running and racing all the time. I think at our level, we also have that, but some of us are too blinded by the flashiness of what we see and what is portrayed online and on social media that we tend to forget some of the realities that come with this. And you need to make sure that you're doing it for the right. And now, the second issue, which is a direct consequence of what I just mentioned, is not being honest to ourselves. If the basis of you going after something is for the wrong reasons, for the wrong people, you're not being honest with yourself. Why? Because you're now doing it based off of those external factors. You're not even doing it for what you truly have inside. It's not that you manipulate yourself, but the basis that you set it on makes it seem normal to you. It makes it seem like it's not wrong. It makes it seem like it's okay for you. But like I mentioned, if you base that off of external factors, off of what other people expect from you, what other people want of you, you're not even doing it for yourself. And that's where you are not manipulating yourself, like I said, but this is where you're now lying to yourself. This is how a lot of people find themselves living a lie. A lie in the sense that after a certain amount of time, it's only then that they realize that this wasn't really for them. The number one way to deal with this is to give meaning to what you do. It's not just to work towards something, but it's to work with reason. All of us will work towards something, but if you don't really know why we do it, if we don't make sure that the reasoning aligns with us, we will always get lost. Same goes for people choosing the degrees in university. That's why you have a lot of people that come out of university and go, oh, I spent 3 years, I spent 5 years, 6 years doing this thing, and I only now realize that this wasn't for me. And most of the time, that stems from not understanding the why and the reasons. And even in those reasons, you need to make sure that you align with those. Because if those reasons are only to please other people, only to please your parents, or only to obtain things that shouldn't really drive and push you to put in so much effort over something that will take up a major part of your life, you shouldn't go for that. So that's the first thing I can say. Make sure that you understand your why and you do things with reason. The second thing is pretty simple, and that's just to be honest with yourself. Now that you've looked at the reasons as to why you're doing a certain thing, now that you've rewired the way you think, you have rewired the way you project yourself doing what you set out to do, you now need to be honest and ask yourself if that's really for you. With the right lens, you can now see if the path that you wanted to take is really meant for you. Beyond this, I can't really say much because that is up to you. After doing that, some people might realize that, okay, the goal is still the same, but the reasons and the why behind me doing it have changed. And even if the goal stays the same, there's just a certain amount of elements that will change as well, even with a similar goal. Maybe the path that you will now take might change a bit, but the goal stays the same. Or some of you guys will realize that the goal you set for yourself, the objective that you set, is just no longer for you. And now what's hard is actually letting go of that. Because if you've spent so much time working towards something for the wrong reasons, rewiring your brain to do it for the right reasons, or now realizing that it's no longer for you, is hard to adjust to. And this goes for both ways. It applies to the people that will continue down that path, or for people rather, that will turn away from that path. Those adjustments, or you completely leaving that behind, will be a hard thing to do. So the work is not done here. That's why we have so many different topics to cover every single week, because there's always more to it. Just because you've managed to get a hold of something now doesn't mean you stop working and stop improving and stop having to fight, ultimately, to steer yourself in the right direction. Understanding where you have to go doesn't necessarily make it easier. Why? Because you still have to go in that direction. So as I end this video, I just want to encourage you guys to go down the right path. Now that you've taken the time to think, now that you have reset your path, whether you will continue or whether you will stop, trust it and stick with it. It won't be easy, but with everything you do in life, there always comes challenges. And if you know something is right for you, no matter how hard or difficult things get, trust it, go for it, and see it through. Catch you guys next time.